So on today's menu as a private chef, I made some oven roasted ribs with baked beans, cornbread with honey butter, corn on the cob, and a wedge salad. Started off by drying my ribs, removing the membrane, and seasoning my ribs using some yellow mustard as a binder, because that's what my mom always used to do, and I always loved it. Today's seasoning was some onion powder, garlic powder, salt, and lots of black pepper. Gonna get those guys into an oven set to 250 degrees, uncovered, hoping to develop a nice crust. While those guys are roasting in the oven, I'm going to slice up some bacon to make some bacon bits for my wedge salad. The way I like to do this is to get the bacon into a cold pan with just a touch of oil to help speed up the process. Let them cook on a medium heat, allowing the fat to render for about 15 minutes, then turn the heat up to high until it's nice and crispy, strain, reserving some of the bacon fat, and let dry on a small sheet tray lined with a paper towel. Next on my prep is making baked beans. I'm not the biggest fan of baked beans. To me, they're generally a bit too sweet, but I think I'm in the minority there. Cut up some onions, a jalapeno, and some garlic, and get that sweated off in a bit of the bacon fat. Season with salt, black pepper, before adding in some brown sugar and a handful of my bacon bits. Deglaze with some wine. I normally use a whiskey, but I didn't have any, and this is going to have to do for the day. Add in some ketchup, mustard, paprika, and garlic powder. Also add just a bit of liquid smoke, which I generally think is a kind of gross ingredient, but I do think it works for baked beans. Add in my strained and rinsed beans with a bit of chicken stock and let that simmer while I get into making some Thousand Island for my wedge salad. My general proportions for Thousand Island are a 4-to-1 mayonnaise to ketchup. I like it to be just barely pink and not overly ketchupy, if that makes sense. A bit of minced onions, a pinch of sugar, some sweet relish, salt, pepper, and a splash of white vinegar to balance it all out. Also made some pickled red onions and boiled off some eggs for what I would consider to be a medium boiled egg. I'm a known hard-boiled egg hater, and I believe that no egg should be fully set and lifeless like that. I made a very standard but moist cornbread, and while I was baking, whipped up some honey butter. That was also very standard. Just honey, butter, and salt. Right before dinner, my clients asked for some brie with some bread and crackers. Then I plated up the wedge salad, just a slice of iceberg topped with the dressing, pickled onions, salt and pepper, bacon bits, and a half an egg on each plate, and topped off with chive. Served up my cornbread with some of that honey butter and a little extra salt and honey on top. Ribs came out really tasty. Was surprised with how juicy they were cooked like this, but also had a nice crust on the outside. Plated the beans in little ramekins with a half a corn on the cob and served with a side of their favorite barbecue sauce that I forgot to show. For desserts was a whipped chocolate mousse and a slice of some pumpkin pie. All in all, a pretty chill day.